What's the scariest thing you've ever heard someone in authority try to hide from others? When I was a nurse at Memorial Hospital, I witnessed something that still haunts me. Dr. Reynolds was the star, the kind of surgeon patients requested by name. Charismatic, confident, brilliant. The hospital paraded him around like a trophy. Fundraisers, awards, PR campaigns. Interns worshipped him. Patients trusted him. Staff followed his lead. I worked alongside him for 3 years, assisted in hundreds of surgeries. At first I admired him too, but then I started noticing things. Small things at first. A tremor in his right hand. Slight, but wrong for someone with his skill. A faint smell of alcohol on his breath during morning rounds. Once I found an empty nip bottle in the locker room trash. He was the only surgeon in there that morning. I brought it up with the nursing supervisor. She gave me a tight smile and said, "Thanks for letting us know. We'll look into it." But nothing changed. Then came Mrs. Garcia. Routine gallbladder removal. She was healthy, middle-aged, low risk. I prepped her like I'd done 100 times before. Dr. Reynolds walked in late, eyes a little too red. I saw the tremor again, worse this time. Halfway through the surgery, he nicked an artery. It was fast. 1 second, everything was routine. The next, blood was everywhere. He froze, hands shaking. Instruments slipped. We scrambled, tried to control the bleeding, but he couldn't focus, couldn't lead. Mrs. Garcia bled out on the table. It was quiet in the OR when they called it. I stared at her body, stunned. Everyone knew something had gone horribly wrong, and everyone knew why. That evening, I was called into the chief of surgery's office. He was calm, composed. "The official report will state complications from pre-existing conditions," he said. "The family doesn't need details that would only cause pain." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "But he was drunk," I whispered. "This is the 3rd time this month." The chief's expression didn't change. He slid a document across the desk. "Everyone on the surgical team will sign this, for the good of the hospital." I looked down. It was a formal incident report, carefully worded to avoid blame. No mention of impairment, just unexpected surgical complications. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying the surgery, the moment we all realized he wasn't in control. I remembered the 2 other patients who'd coded during his procedures in the past month. Both had died. Both were chalked up to complications. I went back to the hospital the next morning and walked straight past my station, straight to HR, then to legal, then to the state medical board. I had notes, times, dates, behavior patterns. I documented everything. I hadn't planned it, not really, but something in me had started keeping records the moment I realized no one else would. The investigation took 6 weeks. Quiet, methodical, and fast once the board realized how much had been swept under the rug. Dr. Reynolds' license was suspended, the hospital administration was overhauled, and 7 families, 7, were notified that their loved ones hadn't died from medical complications, but from preventable surgical errors caused by an impaired physician. They had been lied to, reassured, sent home with vague condolences, all while the hospital protected its reputation. I transferred hospitals not long after.